Spring is officially here. For those of you who saw my last video, or second to last video, you might maybe recognize this place because this is where I shot my hairpin run video. Normally you put like a little claim under the video that the video has been shot on an enclosed road, but as you can tell, this really was an enclosed road because I'm standing in the middle of a back road with my car parked just right there, so no one around, no danger whatsoever. Then I got some comments telling me that we guys were doing a great job making good production videos, but maybe you guys don't realize, but I'm all by myself. Yeah, it's just me. Even the drone shots, I put the drone up in the air and then I drove the car up and down with the risk of the drone returning back to home. But since I am on an enclosed road, I didn't have any fears. Yeah, it was a lot of fun filming it, and I hope to be able to do this year again. Because, yeah, absolutely fun. The video turned out very nice. I received a lot of positive comments. So, yeah, thanks for that. Now let's talk a bit about the car. So it has the hazards on because, yes, there might be one or two cars coming by. So I don't want to just park in the middle of the road without any signs. So it's not broken down, but for those of you who follow me on Instagram, might have seen that I did break down when I first took the car. I took it to work and I had no problems going to work, having lunch, using the car. And then when I went to the car after work, I wanted to unlock the car, but nothing happened. And I was like, okay, what's wrong now? So I unlocked the door manually and no juice whatsoever, nothing. I put in the key, nothing. I opened the frunk and I connected the booster to the battery, tried to start the car, but again, nothing. The battery was absolutely dead. So we managed to jump start the car and I immediately found out that the auxiliary fan might have been running the entire time, which made the battery run flat, obviously. This is when I was starting to think about the problems there could possibly be. And I read that this auxiliary fan gets mainly two signals. So this is the temperature sensor, which is faulty sometimes. And then there is like a resistor also tells the fan to turn on or off depending on the oil temperature and the interior cabin temperature. And whenever I just put the ignition on, this fan was turning full boost. Now it has a new temperature sensor and a new resistor. And whenever I turn on the car now or put the ignition on, the fans are not running, which is a good sign. So I think that I finally meant this problem, which makes me very happy. With nature's colors slowly returning, so does the car season, finally. But with the 964's soul awakened, it resumed the telling of its own story. Before it can hit the roads and eat up some well-deserved kilometers, some work still needs to be done. Every challenge is another opportunity to make this car even better. Episode 22 begins now, and it is going to be a pretty packed one. So let's get started with the AC. For those of you who follow me for the longest, know that this car is prone to have a lot of problems. But today I'm tackling the AC compressor because this valve is leaking. I've learned from my mistakes and the entire AC system has been emptied. I hope that no more gas will come towards my face this time. Out with the old, in with the new. So I have now two identical valves, and this faulty one is now finally out of the game. To make sure that I don't have any more leaks, I've put some Loctite thread sealant on there, and I guess we are good to go now. Fingers crossed that this time this is going to work. One more lesson to teach. If you remember, I had a problem with my brake lights and my running lights. So I replaced one of the bulbs. As you can see, this one is very bright, but this one was not replaced, which means it is darker. So always replace the pair. Such a stupid mistake. So the next issue lies under the frunk, because since the very beginning I had some gas fumes under the front bonnet, and at first I thought that this seal was maybe broken, but then I quickly found out that those pipes which connects the fuel tank to this expansion tank, they were in a very bad shape. I replaced those, I put some new clamps on there, but as you can see they are way too big and the hose is not the right dimension. I measured it out and this is a 22mm, but it needs a 20mm hose. I had to order them online and they are not stock, so for the purists amongst you, be brave. This is what I chose. It is a reinforced rubber hose, and I'll obviously try and put it in a way where there is no logo, because this would be very, very heartbreaking even for me, and then try if this works. This is much more flexible than the stuff that's in there right now. So yeah, I'm going to cut it down to the right length and then put it in there. And so just like that, the new hoses were installed. Now I hope that my problem with the fumes, the gas fumes in the front compartment are finally a thing of the past, and that I can move on to other things that are still bothering me up until today. While I was checking out my AC control unit, I realized that the flaps from this central vent were not working, so I took it out to inspect it and to test if I could reach my arm through this gap and check whether the flap was working or not. And during this process I unfortunately broke one of the clipses. The good part with Porsche is that you can just buy this from the store, brand new, with the sealing foam, everything working perfectly. Okay, so the day before I'm going to leave for Spa Francorchamps, the famous Porsche Days, and we have a bit of a situation here, because yesterday I wanted to drive into my garage with my daughter and put down the window, and surprise, surprise, these electric power windows were not working anymore. I know that mostly the switch is the fault here, but since I replaced all three switches and I tested it, so I put this one on the other side and vice versa, so the switch is not a problem. Also, the electronic harness is not a problem either, because I have central locking, those work, so I knew that it was not a problem with the harness. Then I pulled out the entire door card, and when I activate the switch, you can hear a relay. Well, obviously not anymore, because I finally managed to take the cable out. So I'm guessing that the motor is broken, even though this is not a common issue apparently. But you know, with my car, everything is not common, so I'm pretty used to that. Thankfully, a friend of mine, he had some 964 power window motors lying around, so now I'm testing out if this motor is working. It works. Wow. Ooh. After my night shift working on the car and having to yet fill up and wash the car before leaving for Spa Francorchamps, I left around 7 in the morning with my friend and old neighbor Robert, who is also interested in buying a 964. like last year, we met my friend Eric with his GT4 RS on the road, so we drove onto the venue. And this year there were some changes because there was a guy coming up to the car whilst I was driving, and he was like stopping and waving at me and telling me, wait, we want to have a special air-cooled corner this year around, so I want your car to stand right there. This was like the perfect spot. My car was parked on the corner next to some epic 964s. And then there was another special guest in my eyes, and that was my buddy Hannes. He came all the way from Allgäu in Germany because I told him that this was an event he could not miss. And since it was his dream to drive on the circuit of Francorchamps, I told him, well, this is your event, just come and enjoy yourself. That's exactly the point that I'm trying to make. I did not focus too much on filming the event because this year I just wanted to enjoy the event, like being there in person and not just running around with the camera all of the time. So this is why there are not that many clips from the actual event, only like some highlights that I wanted to mention, which is also a reason why it is just part of this episode, which still remains special for me because of the number 22, and I'll tell you more about that number just in a second. The number 22 has walked beside me for nearly 17 years, ever since the day I found my way to my wife. From that moment on, it began to appear again and again, in moments both ordinary and unexpected. It wove itself quietly into the fabric of our lives until we could see it everywhere, an unintentional yet perfect emblem of our love. Without her, I would not be who or where I am today. She's the one who turned my passion into ours and allowed to shape a life around my dream. We got married on the 20th of August 2022, only months after our daughter arrived in May of the same year at precisely 8:22. It is no wonder then that I chose this very number, so full of meaning, memory and love, for an exclusive limited concrete sculpture of a 964. It's in that moment you understand, you're not just behind the wheel of a car, you are driving art.